The following program is made possible with the support of Papa John's Pizza, Sam's Club, and PortCityDaily.com.
The late season push for high school football teams in the area is underway. The Mid-Eastern Conference standings are jumbled atop the league. New Hanover, Hoggard, West Brunswick all with one loss now following the Vikings' big win over the Trojans this past Friday night at Scott Braswell Stadium on Shipyard Boulevard. Good evening, everyone. I'm Joe Katz from PortCityDaily.com, and welcome to our latest edition of Sports Roundtable here on New Hanover County Schools TV, covering high school football across New Hanover County. As I mentioned, coming down the stretch of the fall sports season. New Hanover Wildcats looking to get a bounce-back win this past Friday, homecoming night at Legion Stadium, and the Wildcats put up some big numbers in a 43-0 victory over Ashley. Joining me here on set this evening is the head coach of the Wildcats, Earl Smith. And Coach, we talked to you before the game on Friday. You said you wanted a defensive touchdown. You got a defensive touchdown. You're clicking on the offensive side of things, dealing with some injuries up front on the offensive line. Overall, assess the performance from the 43-0 win.
Well, it was great. Special teams were prevalent, 0 turnovers, and then, of course, the pick 6 for Jahan. And, our offensive line is just, we had 2 JV players we moved up, and they both started, and real proud of them, both sophomores. So, all in all, it was a great night. We had a little bit of delay at the beginning with the weather, but everybody came out to play, and it's a great homecoming night for the Wildcats.
I caught up before the game Friday on Thursday during the practice week. L.J. Ballard, a guy that you had to shift around on the offensive line, he moved to center, a very important position, obviously, the guy who hikes the ball to the quarterback. How do you think he played on Friday?
Played really well. He was a captain. We chose him as a captain because the last 2 weeks he's played all the positions. And we asked a lot of him, and he was a good leader out there and helped those younger guys on the field.
As Coach mentioned, Jahan Simmons had a 20-yard pick 6. Garrett Walston hit Malcolm Hill on a 42-yard touchdown pass, and Francis Meehan threw a 7-yard touchdown strike to Wiz Vaughn. It was 22-0 in favor of the Wildcats by the end of the first quarter. 43-0 victory over Ashley. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from Friday night at Legion Stadium.
Coach Rayner, our offensive coordinator, we did a few little wrinkles here with a little flea flicker. Wiz makes a great catch here, and that puts us in good position here. Here Blake does a really good job stepping up there in the pocket. Finds senior Malcolm Hill, great block there by Wiz to put him in the end zone. We get our first score. Wesley Gaines gets the extra point. Nas Brown and Grant Daly continue to play great. There they are on a big loss on the quarterback. Here's our version of the wing tee buck sweep with again one of our guards, Attila Dalmacy, moved up from JV, making a great block at the point of attack. Alex Sniffen, one of our tackles, who's our punter, was out this past week with an ankle injury, and Blake Walston comes in here and does a great job of punting. We did punt, I think, 2 or 3 times, and great job there. Here's a pick 6 from Jahan. Good pressure there on the quarterback. And this is our second score. We put a little wrinkle in our extra point with Grant Soloki, who's our center, going out for a pass. Send Jahan in motion here as a distraction. And then Francis gets it off, dumps it off to him for the 2-point conversion. All night, Wesley Gaines did a great job on our kickoffs. We're using a sky kick type thing here. Good hit there, and recovered by Chris Taylor. Chris Taylor is just all over the place as far as special teams.
A punt return touchdown a couple of weeks back.
Nice read option here by Francis. Great block downfield by Lamont Howard, and gets us up there close. Here's another. This wasn't quite supposed to be an onside kick. It was supposed to be a line drive, and he caught the top of it. But we recovered it, and come right back here with a great stop there by Grant. I think think he leads the area in tackles. Nas is right behind him.
Now over 100 tackles for the junior inside linebacker.
Here's a great effort by outside linebacker Troy McCaskill, a roll tackle. It's been a pleasant surprise for us as a junior at our outside linebacker position. Here again is great pursuit by Nas and Grant. No gain. Here Nas gets a sack on the quarterback.
Dialing up the pressure right there.
Blake comes back here, nice connection with tight end Jairee Taylor. Jairee's had some big catches this year. Here's this is a reverse pass, double pass, and you'll see right here I'm yelling, no, don't do that. But you turn it to yes, and Wiz finds Lamont wide open, and he fumbles the ball into the end zone. Freddie Taylor that falls on it for the score. So
when things are really working out for you, just as, I don't want to say bad, but just as things weren't going your way against West Brunswick, things were going your way against Ashley the following week. Two things I picked up from that. Jahan Simmons, a guy that moved from offense to defense, so he must have loved getting his hands on the ball and finding the end zone.
Yeah, he's been a little frustrated, but I think that really helped his confidence, and that was just a big play by him. And you know, I look down here at the rest of the highlights here. You know, we've done a good job of getting the ball to our playmakers, and that's what Coach Rayner did, and that was important.
Not only get the ball to the playmakers, but then you see your other playmakers, receivers in particular, blocking downfield. And anytime you get your receivers adding those extra blocks downfield for big gains, it's good to see.
Absolutely. We work on that. We've been doing that live in practice against ourselves, and it helps, so absolutely.
Yeah, you had a couple of tough days of practice leading up to this game. New Hanover improves to 3-1 in the conference, 5-4 overall. The Wildcats will head up to Hampstead on Friday night for a date with Topsail as they continue Mid-Eastern Conference play. Just a couple of weeks to go here in the regular season. Thanks to Coach Earl Smith for stopping by. Wildcats big winners on Friday night, 43-0 over Ashley. We'll take a quick break. Coming up in our second quarter of action tonight, we'll talk with the head coach of the Hoggard Vikings, Craig Underwood. Jeff Turner of the Ashley Screaming Eagles will stop by this evening, and we'll also get a chance to talk with some of the Laney football players. That's all coming up here on Sports Roundtable. We'll take a quick break right after this. Back here on Sports Roundtable as we cover high school football across New Hanover County, our weekly edition of the show produced by New Hanover County Schools TV. I'm Joe Katz from PortCityDaily.com. Thanks again to Coach Earl Smith for stopping by in our first segment tonight following the Wildcats' big win over Ashley. Here in the second quarter of tonight's show, the Laney Buccaneers are coming off a bye week at 5-4 overall, 2-2 in the conference, heading down to Shallotte coming up on Friday night for a big test against West Brunswick. Joining me here on set this evening is the running back for the Laney Bucks, senior Imeke Watkins, and left tackle Jackson Mitchell. And fellas, you had the off week, come at a good time, getting ready for a big game against West Brunswick. Imeke, we'll start with you, I guess. You know, what do you do? What are the types of things, points of emphasis that you you know, really highlighted this week during the off week?
Right now is getting prepared for the big game. It's going to be a tough game playing against a West Brunswick team. They got a pretty good lineup over there and tough players that bring it. So,
Jackson, offensive linemen don't get under the spotlight too often, so it's good to have you up here on upset on Sports Roundtable tonight. The guy right next to you, Imeke, is having a heck of a season, 1,100 yards rushing, but he'll give you the offensive line all the credit this season. What has gone on to the success of the Laney run game, especially in this new kind of offensive system that you're running this season?
Well, we just worked on the basics a lot, and we just worked on fine-tuning the offense, getting everybody where they need to do, making sure they do their jobs, and making sure that they stay doing their jobs.
Each week during practice, offensive line, every kind of position on the field goes with their own kind of click. On that offensive front, what's the you know, the communication? What's that like every day, and then leading up into a game time on Friday?
Well, we just communicate a lot. We always communicate. We hang out outside of school, outside of football. We're just one big family. So it helps.
4 years have gone by pretty fast. You started as a freshman running the football for Laney. Now you're a senior. I know, having been to a couple of games this season, running the ball really hard, especially in that game against New Hanover. You guys obviously came out with a lot of emotion. You have 2 tough games, and then you get this bye week. So kind of a crucial time right now or a good time to kind of reset, get the mind refocused for this late season push.
Mm-hmm.
Moving into this week, what are some of the tests that you may see that West Brunswick will present your offense?
I mean, their defense, that front is a pretty tough front. So with the O-linemen, they block it up correctly. I mean, we can go.
Jackson, you have another quarterback this season in Sherrod Sidbury, just a sophomore. How does your leadership, along with Imeke, some of the older players on the team, how have they helped progress maybe Sherrod's progression as a sophomore quarterback?
Just make sure he has the right attitude towards it. Always never get down. Always keep moving forward. If you mess up a play, just get right back up and go at it again.
You guys went through a coaching change a couple of years ago. Coach Yeoman is now the head coach. I think it's his 3rd season as the head of the Laney Buccaneers. Kind of used to what he's doing as far as practice-wise, what he really likes to showcase and highlight each week in practice. What are some of those things that you're learning from Coach Yeoman and are taking from him that you maybe can take on the football field and off the field when you're gone?
He's changed the program a lot. He's pushed us and worked us hard to prepare for these games. He's a great coach. He teaches us everything in the weight room, starting from the weight room to out there on the practice field. It's awesome.
Having gone by practice plenty of times this season, Jackson, you guys spent a lot of time in the weight room leading into each week, every practice before you get on the practice field. Mm-hmm. You're in the weight room lifting those weights. What goes into weight training and how successful that translates into a football game?
Just make sure everybody does the supplements. It doesn't do any good to do the actual workout if you don't do the supplements that go with it.
Moving into this week, kind of the latter part of the season, last couple of weeks, how important is it to turn this thing around and really get back to going on a high note moving into the playoffs?
Right now it's just maintaining focus and preparing for every game. If the playoffs times, we got to come, we got to bring it.
Now, this is a Laney team that, has kind of turned a corner here, as you kind of just mentioned, in the last few seasons. Now, still, in search of a couple more wins. West Brunswick facing a big road game. It's always tough to head down on a bus to Charlotte and then come out and put in your best performance. What's it going to take to pick up a win on Friday night?
Just make sure we have a good practice this week. Everybody stays elevated in their energy. Never get down. If something goes wrong during practice, just shrug it off and go to the next day and just keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Lastly, I'll wrap up the conversation with you, Imeke. On the defensive side, you guys don't play defense, but the defense has really helped carry this team to where you are right now, 5 wins on the season. Mm-hmm. What is it like for the offense on the sideline when you're kind of getting instruction from your coaches to watch that defense at work, and what kind of confidence does that bring your offense knowing that they're going to keep you in every game?
Well, we got to focus on more is keeping the defense off the field. Mm-hmm. We tend to fail, and the 3 and outs is too much, so we have to change that going into this game against West Brunswick and keep the defense off the field, and we have a successful game.
Jackson Mitchell, left tackle of the Laney Buccaneers. On the offensive line, Imeke Watkins, senior running back, over 1,100 yards this season so far. Fellas, thanks for stopping by Sports Roundtable, and good luck on Friday.
Thank you.
Jackson Mitchell, Imeke Watkins of the Laney Buccaneers. The Bucs head to Charlotte down Highway 17, Brunswick County matchup against the West Brunswick Trojans coming up on Friday night. It's the half here at Sports Roundtable. We'll catch up with the coaches from Hoggard and Ashley right after this quick break. Hey everybody, welcome back to Sports Roundtable as we continue our discussion this evening with the 4 football coaches from New Hanover County, minus Coach Ashad Yeoman from Laney, as Jackson Mitchell and Imeke Watkins stopped by last segment. Heading into the second half of tonight's show, we'll catch up with the head coach of the Hoggard Vikings, Craig Underwood, following the Vikings' big 34-26 win over West Brunswick this past Friday along Shipyard Boulevard. I'm Joe Katz from PortCityDaily.com, and as I bring Coach Underwood into the discussion, Coach, 3 takeaways on defense to get the special teams game going. Josh Jones had a great evening at quarterback, 14-21, over 200 yards passing, 4 total touchdowns. I have to say, this probably was the most complete game that you guys put together this season.
Yeah. I mean, I think you look at this one, you look back at the 71st game, we've had a couple of examples, but as we've talked about on the show, consistency in all 3 phases has been the issue, and it certainly came together. Very proud of the way they executed.
How much did that bye week really help you guys kind of figure things out on, in all facets of the game, and then not only that, but then game plan for a tough West Brunswick team?
I mean, I think you look. I mean, we had the bye week before the Laney game, and you look at Laney and West Brunswick. I mean, that's two games where certainly it seems like our kids are executing at a higher level, so they got something on the bye week for sure.
I know you talked about following the game on Friday. The team's maturity is kind of, the football team is maturing as the season goes on, and at the end of the day, that's kind of what you want. You want to be playing your best football at the end of the season.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. So I feel like we're on the right track.
All right, let's get to some of the highlights. There were plenty of them.
All right, we got West Brunswick. They've got a really good bootleg game, and we really tried to rep it. And there's Isaiah Kemp coming up with a big turnover in the first half. You mentioned 3 turnovers. Guys were swarming the football. Those turnovers led to points. Here you see Josh setting up, hitting C.J. Pipkin, young receiver that's really come along. He's got just great ball skills. He really catches the football well. Then down on the other end, stepping up with goal line defense. Again, our defense has continued to get more physical, which has been a big push of ours. Obviously, with Bubba McCray at tailback, is a big challenge. There's Christian Holler coming up with a big stop there. That was Daniel Eason down at the goal line on the other end. Some guys making big stops here. Again, just bodies rallying in football. Mackenzie Frazier in there. Huge stops leading to turnovers. So here we go, offense back on the field. Josh keeping it himself here. He did a lot through the air, but he also, that dual threat is really starting to come along. This is Jeremiah Kim. He has been huge in the last 2 games, really starting to come into his zone. Again, only a sophomore, but a great leg, great focus, very detail-oriented kicker. So we're excited about him. He hit from 36 and 31 Friday night. There's Mackenzie Frazier, and this was, it was really back and forth through the first half, so that was a big stop. Colin Hare, thank goodness he's back. Just such a leader. I mean, he's got playmaking ability, but just an incredible young man, and his leadership qualities have been a big part of these last 2 weeks. Here's Austin Edwards, junior fullback. He's back off an injury this week, so getting healthy kind of shows too, I think. Here we go, Josh Bell. Josh Bell making his first start at linebacker. He's a senior, first year ever playing football. Man, he's got incredible athletic ability, and just had sacks in the last 2 games. Tony Allen, you mentioned, 80-plus yards rushing. Him and Rashad share the load, but Tony had a big night Friday night, and certainly helped us.
Hard nose running from Tony.
No doubt about it. He was slamming it. So here's Josh rolling out. Setting up, he knew he was going to get hit there, but big pass again, Colin Hare on the touchdown grab. Just great job. Here we see just good pressure leading to Josh Bell getting a pass deflection there. Again, his instincts really come along, led to him getting in the lineup this week, as well as we had an injury again, so our sickness. Here we see the bootleg out. Here's Chet Raddick. Again, spreading the football around. Raddick, Hare, Hauser, Pipkin, Edwards. Trying to get big Pat. Just trying to get all those guys involved, as well as throwing it, to our backs. So Coach Dimmick, that's a credit to Coach Dimmick and that offensive staff. They just do an incredible job of putting a game plan together. So I texted him Saturday morning and just said, man, the play calling was incredible. Here we go. This is a huge turnover at the end of the game. Landon Romano coming up with a fumble recovery. I hate we couldn't get that last clip in, but that was the last clip was Christian Holler's 4th down sack to seal it for us. Just a big night for him.
Maybe it was my pre-game interview with Christian Holler before the week. He had a sack. He also had a fumble recovery in that game. So it seems like each week I interview one of the players. They then have a big performance on Friday. So we'll have to pick a good one out coming up, Coach, this week. Coach, you get back in the win column here. 2 wins in a row now, 3-1 in the conference. Nearing the 500 mark. You come into a big again crosstown game coming up on Friday. Really just trying to continue to emphasize some of the things that you've been pointing out in practice, continue the hard work this week.
That's right. Defensively it's assignment football. Coach Turner does a great job with the option over there, and they're going to be sound on defense. So trying to spread that football around and make them defend the whole field, and the special teams continuing to just build on the execution we've shown the last 2 weeks.
Thanks to Coach Craig Underwood for stopping by. The Vikes coming up off a big 34-26 victory over West Brunswick. Josh Jones, 4 total touchdowns, the junior quarterback, with a big night for the Vikes. Thanks again to Coach for stopping by. We'll take a quick break here on Sports Roundtable, wrap things up with our final segment of the show coming up after this. Wrapping up tonight's edition of Sports Roundtable, we'll catch up with the head coach of the Ashley Scrimmon Eagles, Jeff Turner, as we head into crunch time of the high school football season. Hey everybody, Joe Katz here from PortCityDaily.com. Don't forget, log on for free online each and every Friday night for full game previews, highlights, recaps, photos, and everything you need to know in the world of sports at PortCityDaily.com. Ashley Scrimmon Eagles, tough one at Legion Stadium this past Friday as Ashley fell to New Hanover 43-0. And Coach, bringing you into the conversation right now, what do you take from a game like this?
There's not a whole lot, but we just have to bounce back. We have a game this week, and the kids got to come to play. Clearly, we didn't have the people, and it was just, I think everything went perfect and right for Hanover, I believe, coming off a loss, and everything turned and really was pretty remarkable to see how it unfolded. It was if you watch the film and some of the things that were happening, it just happened quick, and I think the kids were snake bit, but and it's hard, and there's not a whole lot to say, but our kids they're working as hard as they can, and so we're going to continue to do that starting now and try to have character and show up Friday night.
Well, let's look at some of the highlights and the plays from this past Friday as New Hanover took on Ashley and at Legion Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we had a good game plan. We lost discipline a few times from our younger guys, that really disappointing sometimes, but there are a few highlights that we did do okay, but most of all, I think just losing discipline. I think that's, that's something that we have to have our kids get better on. They're anxious to do well, but sometimes when you're that anxious to do well, you make mistakes and have to be more composed. Corey Whaley's done a great job for us this year, and we had guys open. Our O-line did not do a good job, and we just don't have time to throw. And I'm sure, as you saw in the Hanover highlights, we threw one into one of the other guys' hands on a bootleg, which was pretty bad. But there were some good plays. We get 3 downs to stop them, and then they'd come up and do a trick play or a long ball, and we'd be right there, and they'd come down in their hands. And I think the stars or the moon or whatever was tilted in their way for some reason. I think we're due, though. We'd like to have it in our way one time or another. So we're trying real hard, and nice catch by Corey.
He's become a big athlete for you this year.
Yeah, he's a great kid. Corey, well, he's just such a great kid, and there's few of those kids that you see that are just real seasoned football players, and what I mean by that is they're disciplined. There's no excuses. They work hard all the time, and Jacob is fighting for his life half the time back there. We're just not doing a good job blocking, and we made a lot of mistakes. I thought we could have obviously done a lot better, but the result shows obviously we didn't. Very, very tough on that part of it, though.
You've seen a couple of times here through the Sean Ross, I think it was.
Yeah,
the
Sean.
Field tackle fighting through a block.
Yeah, Sean's got a lot of talent, and guys were getting after it and doing some good things. It was just you can play 12 great plays, but if you have 3 that are long balls and quick touchdowns, it really doesn't matter. And that's sort of the way it was. It was big plays that beat us, trick big plays that we really got hurt on. And that was really what it was about.
A couple of times, Joe Barbera looks to be getting back to form there. Had a sack of the quarterback.
Yeah, he's a great. That's another great kid like Corey. That if you put those 2 kids and a couple other kids, that are real football players, that are football families, and come after it, and we just need some of that to rub off on our other kids. Another great catch by Corey Whaley.
That's a highlight reel play right there.
Yeah, he's great. We brought it down to I think inside the 4 or whatever, and then you know, Jacob had a tough time. Another catch right there. Brought it down in the 4, and then we fumbled the ball. And it was just one of those, you know, we're on the 4-yard line. We got time to go in, and we say, okay, let's get something in. And Jacob had a tough time, and you know, he had a great week the week before. But you know, as you take a step back and think about it, as frustrating as it is, we've come a long way, and we have to build off that. And what we have is just something to hopefully keep getting better each week.
Well, you get back home on Friday night. You get a home game. It doesn't get much easier, though, for you. You play a Hoggard team that's coming off a big win. But you talked about earlier this season how much the community has supported you, the student body has supported you. Should be at least a good atmosphere heading into Friday's game against Hoggard.
It will. It's senior night, so I hope it's emotional for some of the kids. I hope that they, you know, come to play. Hoggard being an established program that has been built, you know, a long time ago, you know, is coming in and they're playing really good football right now. So it's going to be a tough one for us, but I think our kids will, you know, come with good character and do what they can do and hopefully put a good show on.
Coach Jeff Turner of the Ashley Screaming Eagles. Coach, through the highs and lows this season, no matter what, you're still here for every show, and we appreciate that, Coach.
I appreciate
Perfect
you having
attendance
me.
here.
Yeah, sometimes it's tougher than others, but it's always good to see everybody here, and we're here for different reasons also, which is sometimes hard, but thank you.
Coach Jeff Turner of the Ashley Screaming Eagles. Ashley will be at home senior night in Monkey Junction as they have a 7 o'clock kickoff on Friday against Hoggard. That'll do it for our latest edition of Sports Roundtable here on New Hanover County Schools TV. I'm Joe Katz. Until next time.